The following may not be suitable for children under the age of 18. The show contains coarse language, sexual references, and my own personal views and opinions. Please note that all characters are made up and fictional, and are designed for comedy satire and not harm. Thank you for listening, and please enjoy the show. You are listening to the Sky Genie Show. There was not so much of a Raw review for this episode, as I was under the weather and really couldn't be fucked reviewing it. And if I get an email between now and the time the show gets edited and put up, I'll attach it. Otherwise, I'll have a few brief notes on it, about it. But we will have a Smackdown review. I started doing a few things different. On my Facebook page, what I plan to do is to do a Q&A. Nobody submitted questions, but what I'll be doing at the time of recording, or the day before, I will post a thing on Facebook for a Q&A. And I'll ask people to send in questions via the comments section, and I'll answer them on the show. Please bear in mind that it would be from my opinion, so if you get angry, well, you asked. Also, what I have done on Twitter is I've started to do a poll on the Raw or Smackdown, or I started with Raw, but I'll give the results of that at the end of it. As far as Smackdown will go, of course I'll post this up straight away. I'll put the results of that one in the next episode of the Sky Genie Show, so don't be alarmed. So we got some house cleaning notes out of the way. Let's have some fun. As of recording right now, and when this goes up for Americans or everywhere else, it's Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day. The day where you buy gifts that your partner never wanted. Where you buy her a box of chocolates and accuses you of trying to make her fat. And if you're single, you're left with the choice of which hand you are going to use. I'm choosing righty this year. I just want to say Happy Valentine's Day, and thank you for dealing with all the stickiness, the sweatiness, and the overall stiffness and the aftermath. Righty, Happy Valentine's Day. Lefty, you better pull your weight this year, because next year I might you on and wish you a Happy Valentine's Day. Of course, I've had actually one girlfriend on Valentine's Day for 1 year at one point, because I always happened to be single at every other one, but this one, well, I decided to do something different. I made a YouTube video, and boy, that went over well, and obviously, we broke up, not because of that, but it didn't last long. We just argued and pretty much just got drunk after it. Pretty much, it's an excuse to get drunk and have sex. That's it. That's all. Now, for anyone out there currently listening to this episode of the Sky Genie Show and having sex to the sound of my voice, I have one thing to say. Hey, Charlie, Can't get it up, mate. Yeah, I make those awkward moments very well. And now for everyone's least favourite part of the show. Two donkeys fucking. Ooh, that's horrible. Wow, they're making a mess. Yee-haw indeed. And now for everyone's favourite segment of the show is still on holidays. But I do have an update on Rusty Outdate. For Valentine's Day, he decided to get his wife a very state-of-the-art present. This is what he told me. So he bought her an 18th, 19th century washing machine. What a thoughtful gift. Well, it's not really a machine, it's pretty much just have to soak shit in it. Now, don't go away, because after the break, some wrestling news. For fans of the show, please also check out the Don Tony and Kevin Castle show. Don Tony and Kevin Castle show is a hard-hitting, with brutal honesty type show, as they give their views on the world of professional wrestling and WWE. They're also on Stitcher and iTunes. If you want to catch them live, listen to them on Mixlr. Are you looking for a good laugh? Then check out Getting the Corner. Getting Dark Corner. Dark Corner. Dark Corner. With hosts Yuck Nasty and Dogger Baby. Every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. on Mixlr. Check them out on Wednesdays at 9 p.m. on Mixlr. For interesting discussion and debates on professional wrestling, check out Johnny Florida, Michael Corvin, and Old Man Jenkins on Wrestling's National Committee. They talk a wide range of topics on the world that is pro wrestling. Check them out on Wednesday at 9 p.m. on Mixlr. And we are back, and now for the wrestling news. Teddy Long has been announced as the next inductee into the 2017 WWE Hall of Fame. He joins Kurt Angle and the Rock and Roll Express as part of the class of 2017. I think everybody likes Teddy Long. I have to wonder which celebrity they're going to put in the WWE Hall of Fame. Me personally thinks it should be Andy Kaufman that should be going into the WWE Hall of Fame for the celebrity wing. As when you really think about it, he was the first entertainer to actually go into a wrestling match and make it legendary. I mean, his feud with Jerry Lawler got media attention when Jerry Lawler smacked Andy Kaufman on the David Letterman show. I think the fact that he is not in the WWE Hall of Fame is a real crime. And when they have a celebrity wing for it, why not? Rosa Mendez has announced that she is from WWE. Oh, what a real shame of it all. I mean, the contributions that this woman brought through her entire WWE career. I hate to lose Rosa Mendez. I wish she would reconsider and stay. You know, you could make her the women's champion. On not just Raw and Smackdown. Also, we could even make her the champion on NXT as well. Make her the women's champion. Oh gee, I'm really gonna miss Rosa Mendez. Kenny Omega is set to return to New Japan Pro Wrestling on the February 26th and 27th Honor Rising shows. He will return for the main event to team up with Adam Cole to face the Briscoes on the February 26th show, and be part of the main event on the February 27th with the Briscoes, Okada and Ospreay versus the Young Bucks, Omega and Cody Rhodes. He and the rest of Bullet Club will return for the first time since the night after Wrestle Kingdom. WWE, HBO, Sports, and Bill Simmons Media Group are set to make a documentary on the life of Andre the Giant. This documentary will tell the story of Andre the Giant from birth all the way to his death in 1993. No word on the release date. Don't go away, because after the break, the wrestling reviews. For fans of the Sky Genie Show, please also make sure to check out Wrestling Soup. They drop at 9:30 on Thursday. Join hosts Anthony Missionary Thomas and Joey Numbers as they lightheartedly talk about the world that's happening in professional wrestling, as well as other current events. While over there, please make sure to check out the Saturday morning shitbox. Have your voice and question heard as Mish and Joey answer questions on their thoughts of professional wrestling or anything else going around in the world. That show drops on Saturday morning-ish. The weeks it doesn't air is because they're doing pay-per-view Sunday. Yes, whenever there's a WWE pay-per-view, Mish and Joey usually review it, sometimes with John Draper. They also have shows on Stitcher and iTunes. If you want to catch the boys live, check them out on Mixlr. For my masters who are wondering if there will be Sky Genie shows throughout the Christmas New Year period. So sorry. Not for the normal show, but check out the holiday edition of the Sky Genie Show. There you will find I review old wrestling shows from the past. I review them to today's standards. And to make it interesting, I won't even know what I'm reviewing until I do it. Of course, I'll know before you, because I have to record the fucking thing, don't I? But it's filled with gags and more as well. So check out the holiday edition of the Sky Genie Show right here on my channel here on YouTube. If you're looking for a very professional show to listen to the Solomonster Sounds Off. His show, smokes this one entirely, is a very informative show. Join Jason Solomon as he gives his thoughts on the current events of professional wrestling. Catch his show on Podbean, Stitcher or iTunes. Also check out Jason Solomon's YouTube page where he does extras for pay-per-view shows or interviews with wrestlers in the business. Jason has interviewed the likes of Diamond Dallas Page, Bob Hardcore Holly, the legendary Jim Ross, and even Booker T. Definitely a show worth checking out. And we are back, and now for the wrestling reviews. And now for Monday Night Raw. Sadly, I watched the show, but I didn't really try to review it. Under the weather at the time, so I just decided to enjoy it. But I will comment on one thing. The whole segment between Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens, I thought was one of the best things so far to happen this year. The whole lead up to Kevin Owens turning on Chris Jericho caught me totally by surprise. And I did not expect that at all. There are funny bits about it with the statues and the paintings and the magician and everything about this, as well as Gilbert. It's interesting. It was a mix of This Is Your Life segment, what they did with The Rock and Mick Foley, as well as when Kevin Owens smashed Chris Jericho's face into that board and shattered it. It reminded me of the Chris Jericho-Shawn Michaels match when Chris Jericho did it to Shawn Michaels. So this will be a pretty interesting feud going into WrestleMania. And I hope that it was Owens and Jericho that came up with that whole idea, because it doesn't seem like a WWE writer's logic, because they don't book shit like this. So I think they came from their mind themselves. And moving on, I'd like to comment on the Women's Championship match that I thought was a pretty excellent match between Bayley and Charlotte, where Bayley becomes the new Women's Champion. The pattern is, though, that Charlotte ends up regaining the championship at the next pay-per-view. Now, I think that's kind of stupid. They should have had the championship on Charlotte the whole time going into WrestleMania where she loses on pay-per-view, because that to me is the payoff. And having her win the title on the pay-per-view then lose it on Raw, to me, devalues the championship when you hot potato that title all the time. Because she's had, this is probably going to be a 6th reign on thinking in the last 6 months, or however long she's been champion since WrestleMania last year. Well, before that. But I have to think, I guess it'd be from July or August of last year to now, there's been a title change pretty much every month, besides January. But overall, it was a good moment for Bayley and a well-deserved title win. And I hope there's something that comes from this, because Bayley has been dead since she came to the main roster. The aura of what she had in NXT, but not just her, with Sasha Banks, Charlotte, and even Becky Lynch as well, the aura of those girls have essentially faded. And I don't know, or I guess that would be Vince McMahon just not seeing the magic that they did in NXT, because in NXT they had a lot more freedom with Triple H. Now you come up with Vince McMahon, and there's not so much freedom in the main roster, and everything is microscoped. And Vince's logic, well, WWE logic, is they're right, but they're not always right. And NXT is proof of that Triple H isn't always right, and NXT gets it, which was why it was so popular in the first place. Because you had a good women's division, you had a good tag team division, you had a good singles division. It was all mix and match. And of course, since the draft, they've had a lot of talent that's been rated, so they had to build new people up. Now you got people like Shinsuke Nakamura, you got Bobby Roode, Roderick Strong, and more. But eventually they're going to come to a point where they're going to be called up, because they are main roster guys. They should be on the main roster now and not toiling around in NXT. But of course, they have to build stars for NXT for that to be good again. But in closing, it was a good match between Charlotte and Bayley, and hopefully for more in the future. And now for the Smackdown review. We open up the show with Bray Wyatt cutting a promo and winning the WWE Championship. John Cena and AJ Styles come out, each claiming they are owed a rematch. Daniel Bryan comes out and makes a triple threat for the championship. Backstage, Ambrose is looking for Baron Corbin. And then we had American Alpha versus The Ascension. In a pretty good match, American Alpha wins. After the match, the Usos cut a promo on the Titantron. And he's thinking they would come out and attack him, but nothing happened. There was a backstage interview segment with Ellsworth, Carmella, and Dean Ambrose. That was to lead to a match. So the next match was James Ellsworth versus Dean Ambrose, but it never happened. Ambrose music hits, and Corbin is dragging out Ambrose. Ambrose fights back, but gets put through electrical equipment. We then had Nikki Bella and Natalya continuing the bullshit that nobody really wants to see, especially for Nikki Bella. And Daniel Bryan makes a Falls Count Anywhere match between the two for next week. There's a backstage interview with Baron Corbin and a backstage interview with Dolph Ziggler. We then get Becky Lynch versus Mickie James, and I thought it was a really good match where Mickie James got the win. Now, Mickie James should have got the win at the pay-per-view, but hey, whatever, right? WWE logic. Naomi cuts a promo on winning the SmackDown Women's Championship. Alexa Bliss comes out, runs down Naomi. And they go on, and it ended. Then we came to the main event for the WWE Championship. Bray Wyatt defending his championship against John Cena and AJ Styles. At the start of the match, Luke Harper comes out and takes out Bray Wyatt. The match in itself was a great main event. Pretty exciting action with the winner and still champion Bray Wyatt. After the match, Randy Orton comes out and he says that he refuses to face Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania. Bray Wyatt says he is with the Elite, and the show ends. Overall, the show was pretty weak. A 3-match show with a ton of bad promos. A great main event. And that'll be it for this episode of the Sky Genie Show. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Check us out on my website at skygenieshow.weebly.com. Over on Facebook, it's the Sky Genie Show page. On Twitter, it's SDD916. I'd like to thank you all for listening, and we'll catch you next time. I might get involved in this donkey business. Hey, we're still recording? What the fuck?